Thank you guys so much for coming back. It is the host with the most, Glasser Crossfield here, introducing a comedian. His name is Shaun Jones. He looks like Major Hype. Yo, look at Major Hype on Instagram. He looks just like him, but super cool guy. You know, he was easy to talk to, easy to schedule, and I think we might be working with him more in the future. So make sure you go check him out. He's real freaking funny, man, and he he's real freaking funny. And shoot him a DM, show him some love. You know, he'll talk to you for a little bit, man. Make sure you show love. Make sure you go follow him. I love you all, and you feel me? Check out that description and hit that subscribe button. Don't be lame.
Afternoon, sir. You know the reason why I stopped you today? Are you recording me?
Yeah, just for my protection.
All right, sir. I'm gonna need your license and registration.
Y'all together, you hostage. What's going on? You all right? Just blink, let them know you all right. He a nice looking dude, but every
I work hard because I can't fuck up. I am the backup. I don't got nobody to fall on.
Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I'm your host, Glasser Crossfield. We're changing over one podcast at a time. And today we have the world-renowned comedian here with us today. Please introduce yourself.
What's happening, man? This is comedian Shaun Jones, old school BET, One Mic Stand, First Amendment, all the shows above. So I'm just here. Glad to be hanging out with you brothers, man.
Where does your love of comedy stem from?
Just everyday experiences, observation, just different experiences during my lifetime. Just funny stuff, man. Just stuff that I've come across that I think is funny. I have a very distorted mind in certain areas, so I tend to be let it go a little further than the average person when I'm creating content.
Did you ever have a backup plan or a plan B, or was it always just comedy?
Yeah, my ex-wife asked me, she said, "What's your backup plan?" I said, "Death. That's my backup plan." So that's it. This is it. When you have a backup plan, you don't put everything into your main plan. So I don't have any kind of backup plan. That's what a lot of people make that mistake, that they have a backup plan. So they don't give everything they have. I put everything I got, my blood, sweat, and tears into this, so I don't have a backup plan.
What are there comics that inspired you to become one? Like growing up, maybe as a child, that you saw and was like, I want to I want to do that. I want to do comedy because of them, or that influence your comedic style now.
Well, no, everybody, that's the normal question that everybody asks. Who is your, who are you influenced by? Who are your favorite comics? I don't really have a certain favorite comic. There's too many different comics out there with so many different styles that you just take characteristics or different aspects of that particular comic that appeals to me. Of course, Richard Pryor for his rawness of the demons that he faced in his life. You got Bill Cosby for storytelling. You got Jerry Lewis for his physicality. So there's so many different people, but there's not one set comic who appealed to me that made me feel as though I want to do this. Of course, during that time it was Eddie Murphy, raw and delirious, that which basically gave a lot of comics of today that inspiration to go out and do comedy, because he made it look so effortlessly. He did it so effortlessly and flawless. We just felt as though we can do it, so I guess that's like a vague answer, but that's about the best I can come up with right now, so.
How did you get your start in comedy?
Fired from a couple of jobs. Nah, bullshit. I just had friends. I knew a lot of people who were comics, and they just thought that I was so funny, so witty, that I should try it. I went on stage and tried it, and here I am, 28 years later, long as you guys been alive.
No.
So.
Yeah, crazy.
Ain't that something?
But they usually say, like, you can be funny with your friends or family, but that doesn't mean you're meant for the stage. Like, I've heard that many times, that it doesn't always translate or correlate over.
Right. And that's the misconception. And once again, going back to Eddie Murphy, and even like people like myself who's been in it for so long, when we do it, we make it look easy. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, they ain't nothing. You just get up there and talk trash, but they don't realize that this is 28 years of preparation. These are 28 years of trials and tribulations, failed jokes, jokes that worked, so different types of environments. So like you said, a lot of people think that just because they're funny around their friends that they can get up there and do this so easily. But the thing also, there is signs to this madness that we call comedy. There is a game plan. There is a technique. You have to know comedy writing. You have to have comedy writing skills. You have to know what a setup, middle, and punchline is. You have to know, segues and different stuff like that allows you to put all your ideas together. People just think that I have this story in my head and I can just tell it, and then I forgot this part and I can go back and grab that. There's ways that you have to incorporate everything, the techniques into that for that story to, one, be interesting as well as funny. So, but if you don't know that, around your boys, they'll allow you to sit there and talk gibberish for a while until you get to the point where you think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that, don't always believe that, I'm funny around my friends. I can be funny in stand up, but don't also not believe that, because it's just like a wild horse. There's a lot of wild horses out there that if they had someone to grab them and train them and put a saddle on them, they'll be in the Kentucky Derby and win. You know what I mean? So there are people out there with that raw comedic talent, but they just have to be in the right place at the right time to get the proper training or the proper person to tell them exactly how to play in this game. So,
what are some of the ways that you hone your comedic skills?
What do I do? Like, what are my techniques? What are my practices? I guess preparing.
Yeah, to work on you. How does one become better at comedy?
Well, you just got to continue. You got to be well educated on things that's going on around you, going on in society. I might not be a good person to ask, because just like when you've been doing things for a long time, you kind of get away from, the things that got you there, and you kind of form bad habits to a certain degree. You should write. You should continuously write. Writing is very important. Just write. Sometimes it's not all about being funny. It's just getting the habit of letting your thoughts be, to be able to be formatted or created, to give your thoughts life. So write it out and go back and write it again. Just getting accustomed. It's just like practice, it's like when you play sports, you have to practice. Some things that you practice, you don't use in a game, but at least you prepare just in case. So just like I said, just reading. A lot of people read, like paper, whatever's trending in news wise, just be observant about the different experiences that you have in your life, write them down, and go back later and work on it. So it's just like little stuff like that. But for myself, I don't know. I've gone back to writing stuff down again. I'm trying to go back to the old way that I used to do things, to kind of, it's like Rocky. I don't know if you got, familiar with the Rockies series, the movie. When in the first movie, when he trained for a fight, he went to the butcher shop and he pounded meat, he beat the meat and all that. Whichever way I say that shit still don't come out right. Yeah, there's no way you beat the meat, pound the meat, whatever you should be doing. You should be talking about this with three brothers on the line. But you know what I'm saying? So he went, he instead of using a punching bag, he would hit like the side of a cow that was hanging up in the butcher shop. He would run the streets instead of in the gym. He would run up the steps. But as the movies went along, he got away from that. Once we got up to Rocky 2, 3, 4 and all that, he got away from that. But in the last Rocky, he went back to the basics. He went back to that butcher shop and trained. He ran up those steps in Philadelphia. He ran down the street in the rain and the snow. And it kind of balance you. It kind of brings you down. It kind of gets you back to the basics and give you appreciation of what it is that you do, which is this comedy. So that's where I am now. And I'm trying to get back to the basics of writing and just getting my mind into thinking how I used to think when I used to write material.
How far do you want to take your comedy? Do you want to take it to where, you could be on the big screen with movies and TV shows? And because I know like comics usually have a message to where, like, I know like Kevin Hart, for example, he'll do a movie and then he'll do a show and then he'll do, like, how far do you want to take it?
Well, all those things you said I've already done, but the thing is, once again, it's just like having a backup plan. When you cap, what do you do after you? What do you do after you reached all your goals?
Mm.
There's no reason to live. There's no reason to go any further. You've done everything, But I've done movies. I was in a movie years ago with Jamie Foxx, Sylvester Stallone, called Shade. I've done television shows. I was on Your Worst Nightmare. I was on The Shield. I've done maybe 12 television shows, stand-up comedy shows. So I've done all that stuff, but I don't have a set goal on this is what I'm gonna do. There's too many different things. And speaking of Kevin is doing everything. He just opened up a restaurant. He just opened up a series of vegan restaurants. He's doing distribution. He has a production company. He's still traveling. All these different things. Kevin hasn't slowed down, and since I've known Kevin, he hasn't been that kind of guy to say, once I get here, I'm finished. You know what I mean? Like, for me, things are really just starting to unfold. I just filmed my first comedy special, so now I'm trying to write a script. I'm trying to write my sitcom. I'm getting back into my acting. So it's just too many different things in this industry that you can do to always give you something to aspire to do.
Who do you think is the funniest comedian that you've met, like off camera?
Shaun Jones. That's it. I don't need nobody else. This is it. Nah, it's like I said, it's a whole bunch of funny cats. My favorite right now is Joe Coy. Joe Coy is really that's my dude, man. I love Joe. He's a real funny cat. You feel as though you know his mother personally, his son Joe. You just feel like you know them like they're your own family. Like, if you was to see his mother, the image in your head, you would want her to look exactly like that. And you'd be like, that's not how I pictured her looking, but because of the way that he paints this picture during the show, you think you know her.
Is he as funny on camera as he is off camera?
I don't know. I haven't been around Joe. Like, honestly, Joe did Comic View with us back in like the early 90s, man. Like, he was one of the only Asian guys, one of the few Asian guys that did Comic View way back when Cedric and DL and those guys were hosting it, and he had hair. He had hair and everything, man. He was a skinnier dude, but he's like I said, I haven't been around him, but I do have friends who has worked with him, and they said he's just a cool dude, Yeah.
Who would you say is on your Mount Rushmore of comedians?
Mount Rushmore. Of course, you got to go with Dave Chappelle. I just hate saying the obvious. The Richard Pryor, the Bill Cosby. Well, he might be on your. Bill Cosby might be on your those cleaning products under your sink that got the the forbidden symbol on it. That might be Bill Cosby's new Mount Rushmore. But nah, it's just like you got the Richard Pryor. You got to give the Eddie Murphys. You got to give Dick Gregory. You guys might not be familiar with Dick Gregory, man. Dick Gregory was brilliant with what he did. His role was a lot of people are not familiar. The road that he traveled as in comedy, as well as was a advocate of African American progression. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. That's a hard question. There's too many.
Bernie Mac, Martin Lawrence. Not for you? Okay.
Not for me. I mean, Bernie was a great guy. Bernie, I respect Bernie, but for me, I love Bernie a lot. But I just, I don't know if I would put him on Mount Rushmore. I don't know.
Wow.
It's not because there's something that he was lacking, but once again, it goes back to so many choices that if it's just like some people are like, well, why isn't Kobe considered to be the greatest Laker of all times? Because you got Elgin Baylor, you got so many different, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you got so many to choose from. And first of all, you'd be an idiot not to say, but there's some people that it's not that they don't think that he's one of the greatest, but it's too many spaces. It's too many faces to put in that small space, So.
Dick Gregory is still alive?
No, Dick died. What, this fucking conversation is getting stranger and stranger. First we talk about beating meat, now we talk about did the Dick die? It just doesn't sound right. This might not be for Christian radio. Yeah, Dick Gregory, he died approximately, I think Dick died about 3 I'm gonna have to say that around a female. You know, Dick died. You know, I probably had to be. I'd probably be. I had to go to court after that conversation. But yeah, he died maybe about 3 years ago. It might have been 2 or 3 years ago. I'm good friends with his nephew, Mark Gregory. He travels with me. He opens up for me. I think it was right before the pandemic he died. I think it was right in 2019 that he died.
Were you a fan of Paul Mooney at all?
I didn't like Paul. I didn't understand Paul Mooney's humor. I didn't understand. Once again, not saying that he wasn't great, because if you feel as though that Richard Pryor was great, you have to say Paul Mooney is great because Paul Mooney wrote for Richard Pryor.
Exactly.
Right. So you can't catch me. I know my history. I know my comedy history. You little sneaky little son of a gun. You little motherfucker tried to sneak that one in. That's why your dick gonna die. But nah, it's just Paul Mooney. It's just I don't know. It was just everything was like, you know, this nigga over here, this white person, this nigga, you know. So it just, I don't know. That's the way Paul used to. Oh, these niggas are afraid of me. Yes, these niggas, you know. But yeah, I mean, he was great because I mean, he wrote Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was the creation of Richard Pryor was Paul Mooney, you know. But you know, it just. Some people for me are better writers than entertainers. There's so many people because I don't even know that Harry, which writes for is Kevin's writer. Harry was a comedian. He was on Comedy Viewers back in the day, you know, and he's a better writer, you know, than he was a comedian. Or he chose not to be in front of the camera. He chose to be behind it. But you know what I'm saying?
Why is because I know in hip hop, like if you have a ghostwriter, you might be shunned from the industry. Why is that not to be the same problem when it comes to comedy?
No, I don't know if it's the fact. See, and I don't even think that's fair to rappers to say that you can't have a ghostwriter. Because so in comedy, like there's situations that I have the blueprint. I mean, I have the outline of what it is that I want to talk about, and I might not have all, you know, just input from other people. There's stuff that you might not even be aware that you can add to it. So I think it's just like with anything else, you know, you don't have one person that builds the fucking building. You know, you have one person that creates the building. You have somebody else to, you know, to lay the brick. You have a person to mix the concrete. You know what I mean? So do you not give credit to the person who created the building? You know what I'm saying? Just because he had other people assist with the you know, erecting. Here we go with another fucking word. With the erecting of this building.
That one you did on purpose.
No, but it's like that's what you do. When you put a building up, you erect the building.
You could just say build the building.
But that's redundant to say build a building. That's what people would say is limited vocabulary when you use the same word in two different situations. Like the fuck out of here, fuck. You know, get the fuck out. You know, like,
to avoid the third straight innuendo, I would have went with
right. This is very uncomfortable. I don't. What's the name of this podcast? All dicks aside.
Bro, I'm sure there's words. But that's interesting. That's interesting. So I guess maybe the architecture, but you're not a construction worker type of thing.
Right. Let's just move on to the next fucking subject. How about that? We'll just move on.
So, how do you deal with hecklers?
I deal with them very well. Anybody knows me in this business, it might be like a bad idea to say some stuff to me, some shit to me, you know. But no, I mean, once again, that's the stage that allows you to be that person that can deal with those type of adversities while you're performing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like from the years of me doing this, I have stuff in my arsenal that might come across like, yo, this dude, you know, he killed him. But I've already, you know, every dickhead is the same in every other state or every other show. You know what I mean? So I can talk about this, I can talk about that, you know, this 10 shows down the line. So yeah, it's just not a good idea to heckle me because my mind works a million miles a minute. So I can say some stuff that will really have you trying to slit your wrist with electric clippers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's wow. So what do you think is the funniest joke that you've ever heard and the funniest joke that you ever told?
Well, right now, which is crazy, talking about my joke, I have a joke right now that's trending on IG that right now, the last time I looked, was at 3.7 million views. And it's been shared 460,000 times. So,
Porn one?
huh?
Is it the porn one?
Yes, it's the porn one. That thing is, and it's so crazy. That joke has been on IG a couple of times in different clubs, and for some reason, that one just hit hard. And I mean, it's still building. I've gained like 25,000 new followers in less than a week and a half. Like in the 11, today is the 11th or 12th day, and I've gained 25,000 new followers, and it's almost up to 4 million views, you know, and that's, I mean, I'm honored by that. You know, I really like, wow, it's, you know, even, you know, as long as I've been doing it, that's something very exciting, you know, that people are really, you know, liking my material. So I don't, that's, you know, I guess that's considered to be one of my, that is, you know, it's just a joke that I've been doing for so long, man.
It's also true.
No, it ain't fucking true. It ain't true. We back on the dicks again. You see what I'm saying? We back on the dicks again. I mean, everybody just loved the part about when I put the dick in my pocket, like when I put the microphone in my pocket. That's the biggest comment that I'm having about that. Like, yo, when you put your dick in your pocket, I was like, first of all, it really wasn't my dick. I really wish I was able to amplify somebody's voice with my dick. You know, that would be very creative, you know, like a microphone. But I mean, it's a cool joke. I have others that, you know, that are, you know, funny to me. Who, I don't know what's the funniest joke I heard, man, but I mean, I just have funny. It's so many different funny things out there. I used to, as a stock joke, I remember I was in a cigar lounge and a white guy told me a funny stock joke, which I thought was really cool. And at the time I was divorcing my ex-wife, so it was perfect. And he was talking about how the devil walked into church and everybody ran out from the church when they saw the devil walked in, except one old guy. And so the devil walked over to him and said, "I am Lucifer, the prince of darkness." He said, "I know who you are." He said, "Do you know with this hand I can reach into your chest and take out your soul and take you to the depths of hell?" He said, "Yeah, I'm familiar with what you can do." He said, "Well, why aren't you afraid of me?" He said, "Because I've been married to your sister for 40 years. So it's a cute joke. It's a joke that you can tell around people, but I thought that was funny, you know, and I can relate to it because I too have been married to the devil's sister for 4 years. And she too has killed my dick. Nah, I'm just joking. That was we got to erase that because it might be evidence in court years down the. She might try to come back at.
Well, yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh, walk me through how you construct the process of a joke.
Yo, you trying to get free? You trying to get a free lesson? Nah, it's you know, it's important. The setup, middle, punchline. The setup is what grabs people's attention, what get people to listen to what it is that you're getting ready to tell them. The middle is where, you know, where the bulk of the story is. But the one thing that a lot of people don't realize when you're telling a joke in the story form, more or less, is the fact of that part of the joke has so much information, and a lot of times people focus on trying to paint the picture with so many words to get people to see, and it's not necessary. You got to get the audience the benefit of the doubt that you don't have to be so descriptive on what you're saying. You know what I mean? Get to the meat and make it funny, because it's just like with anything else. If you're just listening and everything is at this level, there's nothing to, you know, to jolt you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you watched a movie that was just like this, you're like, man, fuck this, I can't watch this. But there's certain parts in the movie that, you know, it sparks your interest again. It keeps you engaged. So it's the same thing with telling a joke. You know, you have the setup. I'm pulling you in about what I'm getting ready to say, and I'm keeping you in there with the information. I'm painting a big enough picture, and I'm keeping you entertained enough that you want to stay there. But the payoff has to be the biggest thing. That punchline has to equal up to the original anticipation that you gained from me. You know what I'm saying? You know, you ever got to a story and then this is how you know that shit don't work. You had to be there. That means that shit wasn't you didn't have anything for the payoff. You know what I'm saying? You had to be there. Well, what the fuck did you tell me then if I had to be there? You see what I'm saying? So you got to know, hit that punch, hit that setup to get people's attention, keep them in there, keep them engaged, but have that payoff be something so big they're like, yo, that was crazy, you know? So that's kind of like the formation of writing a joke.
Do you ever get nervous still?
Oh yeah, I get nervous sometimes. It's a different kind of nervousness. It's a little bit of anxiety. It's a little bit of anticipation. Like I'm ready to get on stage. Like last night we were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida last night with Ricky Smiley. We had we were in a venue that holds maybe about 1,500 people. So, and I'm waiting, Ricky's on stage. I'm like, all right, let's go, man. Come on, I'm ready to go. It was kind of like, I've been off stage for a couple of days, which is not normal for me. A couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. I went on vacation and stuff. So I was kind of like, and there were certain jokes that I've been doing so long. I was like, for some reason, I just can't remember it. So you kind of get those butterflies, like, what's going to happen when I get out there? But it's just like it's just like with anything else. I've been doing this so long. When I grab that mic, whatever has happened before I grab that mic is in the back pocket right now until I come off. I've dealt with the death of my grandmother, and still had to go on stage. The death of my father, I had to go on stage, watching my ex-wife do some shit, and while we were married, just distorted all day. But when I hit that stage, none of that shit. I was even deathly ill at one time where I had a fever and I had to drive 2 hours to a show because they had nobody to cover for me. And when I walked on that stage, I had all the energy, but when I walked off, I collapsed right there at the foot of the stage. So,
wow,
yeah, that adrenaline will take you a long way, and the butterflies will as well. Sometimes it's good to still have butterflies though, because once again, you never want to get too comfortable where you think I can do this with my eyes closed. Well, you don't want to open up your eyes one day and they booing the shit out of you, so you might want to you might want to do something different.
Seems like your ex-wife really put you through the ringer, huh?
Man, fuck her, man. Nah, you know what? It was one of the most challenging times in my life. This is my first ex-wife, so but it was necessary. It was necessary. I have no animosity towards her. I'm sure she still has animosity towards me, but I mean, I hate that because we were younger. I was in a whole different frame of mind. She was in a different frame of mind, and things happen. But God does things in a way where it does nothing but either help you grow or destroys you, and it didn't destroy me. So I've grown.
Yeah, I definitely. The more and more I hear about from older men who have been divorced once or twice, it just makes me like really have to lock in on like I want to be married once in my life, and I'm sure that's how a lot of people plan.
Yeah, it's not like you say, yeah, you know what? I want half my shit to be taken every 10 to 12 years. Nobody says that shit, man.
Jesus,
yeah, but the thing is, it's life. You have to have certain experiences to get you to the point where I feel as though I am. You know what I'm saying? If everything would have been smooth sailing, and I wouldn't have a greater appreciation for the things that I'm receiving now. It's always, if I didn't know then what I know now. That's a statement that's been around forever, but life is not set up that way for you to know then. That's why it's called maturing. That's why it's called wisdom. You can't have wisdom without experiences. You can't be someone who is well educated in something if you don't have experiences in that field in which you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So everything is necessary, good and bad. So yeah, it was messed up. My marriage fell apart. It was fucked up at the time, but now looking back, it was I don't want to word it this way, but it was like one of the best things that happened for me, because I would not have gone on to another relationship. I wouldn't have possibly have put so much into my career. You know what I'm saying? If it was all smooth sailing. So.
Did she cheat on you?
Huh?
Did she cheat on you?
Who the fuck, you, the counselor or something? Like, you're trying to give me, you're trying to play a therapist, trying to get a nigga to cry on camera. That's what you're trying to do. She hurt me bad, man.
That's the only thing that could really really put me out of like, I feel like.
No, it's honestly more, as you get older, you'll realize it's more than just, sometimes physical cheating is not as bad to some people as emotional attachments, or what if a person emasculates you. You know, for a man, if a woman emasculates you, that you rather for her to go out and have sex with somebody else than making you feel as though she don't respect you as a man. You know what I'm saying?
For respect over love, yeah.
Yeah. So the physical can be, you can fix the physical. You know what I mean? But sometimes you can't fix the emotional. So would you which scar would you rather have? STD or or mental STD?
Wow. Well, who's one comedian that you really would like to work with one day?
I mean, I work with everybody already, man. I pretty much know everybody in this business some way, somehow. As far as working wise, I guess Dave Chappelle. You know, just because Dave's mind is, he's just a different entity. You know what I mean? He's just different, bro. But you know what I say? I don't, because I know if I haven't, eventually I will work with. I'm working. Like I said, I know almost everybody in this business. There are very few comedians that I haven't met in some way, shape, or form, or work with them, or in passing. You know, so I don't know. Now I would like to go on tour with Kevin, and or even at that magnitude. I've known Kevin his whole career. But yeah, he used to come when we used to work in Philly at the Laugh House. He used to come do guest spots. Oh. Yeah, and when Kevin, we used to hang out when he used to come to Atlanta. He used to call us up. We all used to go hang out. He hosted One Mic Stand, so he introduced me on One Mic. I've known Kevin for a long time. But we never been on shows together. That's crazy. All the years we've known each other, we never been on shows together.
So. Do you fear being canceled, and how does that affect you?
You can't. Fuck cancel culture. You know what I mean? That's basically telling me that now we're a communist country. So you're telling me I can't have the free will or the free speech to do what it is. Just because I might say something that might be offensive to you, it doesn't make your view right or mine wrong, or vice versa. It's if you don't like what I'm standing for, what I say, you have one or two choices. You can walk away from it, or you can debate me on it until maybe there's a different understanding that either one of us can come up with. But just to feel as though that you have more right to what's right and what's wrong than I do, fuck you. Who are you? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the one group that you really can't mess with
is a gay community.
Yeah.
It's known. And this is a joke that has gone on in the comedy community, in which a couple of different comedians take credit for creating this. Like, hey, if you can take a dick, you can take a joke. You know what I mean? So
nah, I gotta clip that. Lord have mercy.
Don't quote me on that. You ain't gonna get me canceled over some shit that
I thought you weren't scared. What's going on?
No, that's Carlos Mencia. But that's been a joke that's been debated. Like, Carlos Mencia said it on his special, but there's so many other comics that said that he took it or whatever. But no, it's like, see, this is the hypocrisy that comes with the gay community to a certain degree. And I just talked about this on another podcast. So you're basically telling me I should not judge you on the choice that you made for your life, but you're judging me because I'm not accepting, or you might think that I'm not accepting the choice that you made. So you're basically telling me it's okay for you to chastise me for saying, oh, look at this gay guy. Like, that's wrong. But you can say, if I say, look at this gay guy, you can judge me to say, you're homophobic. It's just because I don't agree with what you're saying. I'm homophobic. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? You're basically, the thing that you're fighting for, you're using against the people that you're fighting against. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. It's hypocritical, You want me to allow me to live my life the way that I choose to live. Well, allow me to choose to live my life the way that I choose, and allow me to say what I feel is right for my life and what is not right for my life. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now that I'm saying that what your choice of lifestyle is not right for me, I'm homophobic. Why can't I say the fucking word today? So does that make you hetero? Does that make you
take your time?
Fuck you.
I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to say.
You see, it just annoys me, man, that it's just like somebody who says I'm not racist, but they doing everything to show that they're racist against people who don't look like this.
Like I know a lot of women who say they support the LGBTQ community, but then like they'll call you a gay slur as an insult. So it's like,
right.
Is there something wrong with being gay then? Is what you're saying?
Right. My thing is I can care less what you do with your life. And if you choose to be gay, okay. As long as I don't wake up and you trying to, get a nigga in the huckabuck, I'm cool.
What?
You know what I mean? In the huckabuck.
You gotta be from the South. You gotta be from the South.
Lord, nah, that's just a term. I'm from Jersey. That was the term I was the huckabuck.
Crazy.
That was, but you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't care what you're doing. I honestly don't care. Like, I have a very close friend from high school. Like, we like brothers, and he came out years ago. Was like, dude, I'm gay. I'm like, nigga, you been gay. So what?
You knew?
You can tell by his mannerisms that, he didn't. You didn't know exactly, but you was like, come on, nigga. Like, nigga clap underhand, But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because what he chose in his lifestyle never seeped over to our friendship and our brotherhood. So why do I need to address it? Why do I need to care?
And I don't see the uproar when comedians make fun of other races or religion or politicians, any other category, but this one specific one, it seems to bring a lot of backlash and ridicule.
It's the hypocrisy. See what I'm saying? Oh, you laughed your ass off when I talked about white people and Karens. Oh, you laughed your ass off when I talked about the Catholic Church and the black ministers. Oh, you laughed your ass off when I talked about the redneck. When I talked about Cookie or Twan. Now you fucking mad?
Twan is crazy.
Easy.
I hope you don't know no dude's named Twan and he ain't gay. Because if he ain't gay, he on the wait list.
Is that short for Antoine?
I don't know. You tell me. You the one that know a nigga named Twan. So
I know, but it's just funny, like, because Cookie's like, okay, that's a kind of a stereotypical like gay nickname, but Twan, I didn't know that. That's information to me.
Right. Well, a fat gay guy named Meat. I don't know. Anyway. Nah, man, but it's just so, and the thing is, if you got to try to do everything, if you got to be over the top with trying to prove to me how happy you are with yourself, you really aren't. Sometimes that's the problem I have sometimes too, where the flamboyant, gay people. Once again, I'm not judging them, but it's kind of hard to understand your whole mindset. If you got to do so much to convince me that you're happy with yourself, because I'm happy with being a heterosexual. I'm happy that I love pussy. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see me coming outside every day like, yes, today I'm going to get some pussy. I'm going to fuck everything. You don't see me. We don't do that. We don't do that. We just know who we are and we live with it. So why are you trying to prove to me how happy you are with being gay? Just be you. That's the one thing I'm saying about my boy. He was just him. He was happy with what he chose, and I'm cool with that. I can be around anybody. I can be around a racist. You know what I mean? Because we all have racism in our blood somewhere. We judge people before we based on observation that you see of that particular class or that group. You know what I mean? But as long as you don't call me, I'm not gonna sit there and kiss your ass or be, but if I know that you're straight out racist, but at the same time, I can have a conversation with you. Because there might be something in our conversation that I might say that might get you to look at things differently. And now you're looking at the whole way of how you're judging people based on color or whatever it is that you're racist against. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I've had a situation like that a long time ago where basically it was an old white dude. I was doing a show in this redneck town in West Virginia. And I had such a great show, and this old dried up white man, this motherfucker had to be, like, his social security number had to be Roman numeral 2. The motherfucker was old. And he came up to me. He was like, I don't usually take to your kind. And that statement right there was like, I'm going to have to beat the shit out of this old white man. but he didn't mean any harm. But he said, basically, he was like, man, you the funniest son of a bitch I ever seen in my life, man. Anytime you come through here, I'm definitely going to come. I just enjoyed you so much. So basically, just my comedy had given him just a little different look at Black people that he wasn't familiar with. So we just can't cancel everybody because they don't think like we think. See what I'm saying? So
how long did it take you for a comedy to become profitable for you?
It was different for me, man. My career, like, I just think that God made me for this because, you know, when I first started doing comedy, I was working in insurance. I was working for State Farm. It was bullshit, man. But I had a cool ass boss, and he laid me off. But he made sure I got unemployment when he laid me off. And while the first couple of months, the first 6 or 7 months or better, I was getting an unemployment check, you know, that allowed me to go out and learn the craft of comedy. So when I finally decided that this is what I wanted to do, my unemployment stopped, and that's when I started working. I started getting paid to be a comic. So I kind of had a little paid training to lead into comedy, which a lot of people don't get that chance, man. A lot of people don't get that chance, but I was blessed to have that opportunity. So.
And my last question, what has been the key for you to be doing comedy for almost 30 years now?
Just long. Ordained to be in this, number one. I really think that this is because there's been times where I wanted to get out, where I thought that this was it. I can't do this anymore. And I found myself right back. And I just think the love, and I tell people when I used to do my comedy workshop, I tell cats, if you're coming in here to this workshop to do comedy for sex, money, or recognition, leave now. Because it's going to be a long road before you really start experiencing those things. So you have to have a passion and a love for what it is you do. And I have a love and passion. A love and passion will allow you to travel cross country for just enough money to come back home broke. You know what I'm saying? A passion and love for this business will allow you to somewhat neglect your family to pursue your dream. Because pursuing your dream eventually take care of your family. And a lot of people can't make that choice. A lot of people have to choose their family, versus that passion that could take them. Like I said, now where I am, my passion can take care of my family, So I think that's what keeps me in this business for as long as I've been in it.
Since you mentioned it, the women come in abundance.
Hey man, mind your business, bro. Hey, he ain't talking to you. But
is there really a girl there?
Nah. Why you in my business? Why you in my business, man? Why you in my business? Well, look, I might not be able to answer. Nah, you know what? It's the person, man. It's the person. Of course, the business. People are infatuated with someone that they're funny goes a long way, So women, we ain't gonna talk about dicks again, but sometimes funny outweigh never mind, because y'all might think that I'm trying to say that I'm very, very funny. And anyway, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, pause.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit.
I appreciate you greatly, man, for coming on to the podcast, man. Thank you so much for your time out.
It's my pleasure, man. I enjoy being with you, brothers, man. I'll come back anytime. We'll talk about something other than dicks. Can we talk about pussy next time or something?
For sure.
That's what I'm talking about. We can log off and log back on and start that conversation now, because I'm feeling dirty hanging out with y'all little son of a bitch.